pulls over and the guy gets out, or gal, believe me, you'll see law enforcement appear out of nowhere, seemingly, that'll be trying to take this guy into custody. Right now, though, it does seem like it's working. Driving a little bit slower. And we're waiting to see what happens when we come up onto a red light, but definitely trying to blend in. Looks like he's trying to blend into some traffic. Here comes one of those hard left turns, and clearly a red light for him. And go wide. There he is. There he is. And yep, and he's making that turn. So is driving a little better, but definitely still dangerous for any of the folks that may be near him. And this pursuit continuing now, and I believe we're back onto Washington, perhaps. I'm all turned around. I got to look out the window and find it. I'm sorry, we don't have our mapping technology today.
No, absolutely, a very industrial area. We're looking at Southgate right now. Police backed off, CHP backed off a little bit, hoping this driver would drive a little more safely, thinking that law enforcement isn't tailing him. But at this point, a little less speed, but still erratic. We've seen him go into oncoming lanes of traffic. Thankfully, no collisions yet, but clearly this is a big concern for law enforcement officials because of the fact it is a potential carjacking suspect they've been following for some 20 minutes right now. But a danger to drivers out on the road because of the fact this driver has been blowing multiple intersections, red lights, driving on the other side of the road, making erratic turns left and right. So if you are driving in this area, this is where you want to avoid. A driver in a late model white pickup truck. This was a carjacking suspect that was called in. Yes, about 20 minutes ago, Stu. And what can you tell us right now in terms of the maneuvers he's making?
Well, I can tell you right now that he basically got off of Bandini. We were back onto Atlantic. He could have got onto the 710, but he stayed off of that. This freeway takes him back over to the 5. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. The guys and the gals on the ground of law enforcement, they've all backed off. That's not the drivers, not the law enforcement, the boots on the ground as it would be. That's more coming from their bosses. They basically said, too dangerous. We're going to back off, let that helicopter do its job, keep an eye on where this thing is going. Hopefully this person will look in his rearview mirror every now and then, realize, hey, nobody's chasing me. They might be doing it right now as we're coming up into a parking area, and basically just kind of, you know, slow the roll as it would be. They re-engaged it. Thank you. That's what I'm like. What is Jackson trying to tell me? So yeah, they've re-engaged it. The sheriff's department back in pursuit of this vehicle, the helicopter above it, and again, we're in the city of Commerce, and you know, a lot of big rigs out here, a lot of unusual traffic, a lot of these big trucks trying to make U-turns or try to work their way into a lot of the businesses out here. So it is dangerous for them as well, making the driving a little bit more difficult. But the sheriff's department, I can tell you, whoever's behind that wheel, trained at this type of driving, trained with these type of maneuvers. The guy or gal that's behind the wheel of that carjacking truck, white pickup truck, I would guess probably doesn't have any high-speed driving experience except for what we've been seeing today. Hopefully nobody gets hurt.
And did you say, Stu, earlier that law enforcement officials did try to throw down a spike strip at the beginning of this, but it wasn't successful?
Wasn't successful. We did hear them earlier on. They were when this was up by Azusa in that area over there, San Gabriel Valley. They were off of Barranca, and I heard them clearly say that one of the units had a spike strip and was trying to get into position, so they were unable to. And we've all in Southern California, we watch enough of these pursuits, and we know that this vehicle moving way too fast for any kind of pit maneuver situation. So right now, we're just kind of keeping an eye on him. It looks like we're getting back onto the freeway. We'll get you that freeway here in just a moment. But, you know, that's basically what they can do. They're going to try to just keep an eye on this vehicle. They might have somebody behind it. They might back off. But eventually, this person is going to stop. And when that happens, that's when they're going to have their moment to try to take that suspect into custody. Right now, it looks like we're on the 5 freeway. When we're looking out the window, we're heading back towards Disneyland, so we're southbound. And you can see that vehicle reestablishing itself in that traffic, just kind of moving along a little faster than what everybody else is doing, but that sheriff's unit right there behind it, lights and sirens, hopefully that'll get some of these drivers' attention, and they'll be able to get out of the way, do what's predictable. That's what law enforcement from behind the wheel has told me a couple of times when we asked them. It's like, when you hear those lights and sirens, don't stop. Don't hit the brakes. I mean, unless you're a suspect. Like, if you're just seeing a law enforcement making their way, get over to the right. That's all we expect you to do. Get over to the right, make way, and that's being predictable. Right now, though, this vehicle continues to weave its way through traffic, and it seems like, looking ahead, it's just going to get thicker and thicker, and maybe those lights and sirens, somebody might actually do that, what they're not supposed to do, and stop. That might create that moment where that, well, now there's a couple of law enforcement where they'll be able to do that traffic stop and take that suspect into custody.
Yeah, it was very dangerous watching that driving just moments ago. He was on the shoulder, the suspect, and then weaving through that traffic. You never know what's going to happen because this is so erratic in terms of speed, in terms of the turns, the illegal turns, blowing through red lights. So you never know the mindset, obviously, of the suspect or the driver in this case, or the determination on the destination that possibly this suspect is trying to get to. So, of course, motive is such a driving factor in a pursuit like this because you don't know the mindset. It looked like something may have come out the window on the passenger side, but again, it could have been just a glitch on the scene. Thankfully, we haven't seen any collisions, right, Stu? Not yet, at least.
Yes. Not one collision, not one even like the comment swapping paint. Haven't seen any of that this afternoon or as at all, which is amazing. This driver's still driving very, very erratically. That I got to give a shout out to Justin for keeping this keeping these wonderful shots up for us and letting me know that they've switched over to the East LA Sheriff's Department as the ones that are actually in pursuit of this suspect now as he's making his way southbound onto the 5 freeway. The drive itself looks like it's going to be like this for some time. Law enforcement, they're doing what they can. Just get a little closer. Do that command presence. Maybe just if that suspect sees like, hey, there's 4 officers behind me, maybe he'll make the right decision and just kind of pull over, give it up as it would be. Right now, though, the mindset, the only thing I can say is that whoever's driving this vehicle is just trying to drive as long as they can drive. Just keep it, not be taken into custody. And that type of mentality is very dangerous, and law enforcement understands it and sees it. Add in the fact that this is a carjacking suspect and this person may be armed. That makes it extremely dangerous for the law enforcement when this does stop. It's like taking this person into custody might be a little bit more difficult than we've seen in the past. Right now, though, that guy in that car, that shop 530 that you see right there, that's an excellent driver doing amazing work keeping the public safe, and that suspect just knowing we're right here, we're right behind you, just pull over.
Absolutely, and Justin, being able to follow on camera what exactly is happening from your vantage point, so thank you for that. But clearly a situation they want to get a handle on as this carjacking suspect is traveling towards the downtown area. Again, we have world leaders in town for the Summit of Americas. Law enforcement, there's a heightened security alert, obviously, with dignitaries in town, with the president going to be in town as well, meeting with these high-level dignitaries. So something like this obviously is what law enforcement are trained and prepared to do, take care of any other situation surrounding the city and in the city. But clearly, this is not what you want to see nor deal with when you have these high-level dignitaries in town, and there is definitely a security perimeter in mind as they deal with this Summit of Americas taking place right here in Los Angeles for the first time in many, many, many years. So clearly there is a lot on the plates of law enforcement for today and throughout the rest of the week, but this is not a situation they want to have continue because of the fact that this is dangerous to the community. This is a suspect, as you can see, driving erratically, kind of in the perimeter, heading towards downtown. We don't know the motive, as you mentioned, Stu, the mindset of the driver, but clearly this is something that they want to put an end to, and they're following very closely, and obviously they are just trying to communicate to the driver or trying to handle this situation to get this to end. Stu, your vantage point from ahead, what's traffic looking like?
Well, the traffic is about the same. It might be getting a little bit lighter. We have to make it clear. We've been on the southbound 5 now for just a few moments, and I can tell you that we just passed the 605 freeway, and we're continuing southbound. So we're making our way back into the Orange County area. The speeds are actually kind of slowing down, as it would be. I mean, even though we're still passing a lot of these cars on the freeway, we're not seeing type of situation anymore. California, that sheriff's vehicle, not sure exactly what he's doing there. Get a little bit wider of a shot, but I know Justin's working with our TOC. Maybe he's backing out. That's that vehicle that was on his tail the entire time, shop 530. So, maybe what they're doing is they're handing this back off to the California Highway Patrol, and that sheriff's unit is basically just kind of yielding to the other law enforcement and maybe just staying in the area in case they need help. But you see that vehicle, as I'm looking out the window, that lane he's in, wide open for quite some time. It does bunch up as we make our way closer to Disneyland. But right now, though, California Highway Patrol looks like they're taking it over. And this vehicle, a carjacking vehicle, started in the Baldwin Park area, is still continuing southbound on the 5. A number of officers, you got 4 of them in the shot, at least 1 or 2 in the air, keeping up. But they want this person in custody, and clearly there's a little bit more to the story than we know just from a vehicle evading. We're hearing it is a carjacking. Hopefully this person, if they have a weapon, they surrender it right out when this thing comes to an end, or possibly has tossed it out the window. But right now this pursuit continuing. Southbound 5 freeway, carjacking suspect. We're making our way away from the Los Angeles area, downtown Los Angeles, and making our way back into the Orange County area. But again, a number of law enforcement, meaning jurisdictions, meaning there's Sheriff's Department in the air and on the ground, and also California Highway Patrol behind it right now, all working together just to get this vehicle to stop and that suspect into custody safely.
Interesting, it looks like the driver is slowing down and obviously going away from LA, as you mentioned, going towards Orange County. So it is, in terms of the destination, unclear where this driver, this suspect, really wants to go, what their final destination or motive is right now. But obviously a concern. But you mentioned, Stu, how funny it is that this driver's now looks like he's really slowing down, because we've seen him reach maybe 90 degrees earlier, 90 miles per hour rather, earlier during this whole pursuit.
Yes, definitely, and it was seeming like we're getting some new information that that is a carjacking with a hostage situation, meaning that they're possibly, we have yet to see this, and much like law enforcement, until they actually have eyes on it, that is just we're going to look for. But apparently there may be a female passenger inside that vehicle. Those windows very tinted. We couldn't see it earlier on. Also, the driver, the suspect of this vehicle, the carjacker, as it would be, apparently extremely agitated. Well, we saw that, and we understand that that might be his reaction to being followed by law enforcement. You know, heck, it's cause and effect, buddy. But at any rate, what we see right now is extremely slow speeds. Law enforcement slowing the traffic behind this vehicle. That vehicle still driving. Is it running out of gas? Is there a conversation going on inside that cab right now? Hopefully, whatever it is, it's going to lead to a very peaceful ending with nobody getting hurt, including that possible victim and also that suspect behind the wheel. Law enforcement, this is something that, you know, we don't bring up enough. They are concerned about everybody's safety when it comes to taking people into custody. Right now, though, definitely looks like this carjacking vehicle is slowing down, and maybe to a stop. Is that because of the driver's desire? Maybe it's running out of gas. Unclear, but not a very good spot if this turns out to be a standoff, because we are on the southbound 5 freeway making our way into Orange County. This is going to create a traffic nightmare if this vehicle stays on the freeway and this becomes a standoff.
This is a very scary, serious situation, as you said, because of the fact there is a possible hostage with this carjacking suspect, who is the driver at this point, going on more than 30 minutes of this chase. And that takes it to a whole different level when you're talking about somebody in there as a hostage with this suspect. Obviously, that is why law enforcement officials are factoring in that other detail when it comes to how they're pursuing this suspect and what they're going to do to try to put a closure on this. Oh, you see the driver's
hands
up?
Out the window. Hands out the window, and it looks like the passenger window might be coming down as well. So it's clear that now it's more clear that there is somebody in the passenger side. I gotta just double check. Yes, definitely seeing hands both sides. So the driver and the passenger. Something just went out the window right there. Not sure what that was, but something just went out the window. And this is very positive, especially for law enforcement. The door opening up on the passenger side, that believed to be the victim of the carjacking, possibly a kidnapping victim. Right now, though, she's out. She's got her hands out. The driver's out with the hands up as well. I am sure they're following whatever the law enforcement is telling them to do. They're following the directions. They're going to make them get a little bit closer. They may take both of them into custody because, you know, until they really know, you just don't know what was going on inside that pickup truck. So the driver, definitely the number one that they're going to want to get into cuffs. I saw that female get back up. Maybe she's going to continue walking back to the law enforcement. But don't be surprised if they put cuffs on her. It's not because they're trying to be bullies or whatever. They just want to make sure that she is a victim and there's not something else going on. They don't know until they know, and that's the deal with law enforcement. But definitely coming to an end. That's Carmenita is going to be the off-ramp, southbound 5 freeway. Long pursuit, some very dangerous moments. Thank goodness no vehicles got damaged in this chase. But until those cuffs are on for both of them and being talked to by law enforcement, this is going to be a situation until we see that it is over. Right now, though, like I said, they're going to put the cuffs on her, talk to her, try to figure out exactly what's going on. The driver of that vehicle, the same thing's going to happen to him. But right now, they just got to get him into custody. And again, if this was a carjacking, possibility of a weapon still in play.
And we don't know, as you mentioned, we did see something possibly fly out the passenger side window right before we saw the hands up on both sides, the doors opening from the passenger and the driver, and coming to this seemingly peaceful ending so far. But you do see both the driver and the passenger obeying the commands of law enforcement right there on the freeway. Both hands up. We see a clear picture of the driver right now. No sign of a weapon at this point, but that's something definitely that's going to be part of the investigation with law enforcement then going in to search the vehicle after they do take this suspect into custody right now. But a whole different situation and scenario if the woman on the passenger side was in fact a hostage in this. So again, that's all going to be part of the investigation as law enforcement starts taking this driver into custody. He's being told to back up, get closer to the law enforcement officials right there with his back to officers, as you see right there, Stu.
That's right. That's the suspect. That is the driver. We got to be clear about that. That was a person driving this pickup truck erratically for so long. The female passenger, she did get out. They did take her into custody first. They have cuffs on her. But again, just to figure out exactly what's going on. A little bit of communication between the officer and the suspect right there. Possibly just asking if you're going to resist. Do you have a weapon? Anything like that. We clearly saw the head nod, but they're going to take this person into custody right now, figure out exactly what was going on in this whole scenario. But before that actually starts happening, you can see those officers right there making that approach to the vehicle, making sure that there's nobody else inside there. And again, it just is the same thing. Until all possibilities of danger have been eliminated, there's always a possibility of danger. There you go, the universal code 4. That means there's nobody inside that vehicle. And now they're going to hopefully let some of that traffic open up on the southbound 5 freeway because it is building so quickly. But 2 people in custody, nobody was injured. This is the type of pursuit, if we have to cover them, these are the ones that I always like.
Yeah, we're thankful for that, a peaceful conclusion to this pursuit that has been going on for almost an hour at this point, starting off in the Baldwin Park area, the call of a carjacking, and then a pursuit of the suspect, not knowing for quite some time, though, that there was a female passenger also involved in all this. We don't know at what capacity at this point, whether it was a hostage situation or what, as you mentioned, Stu, but definitely taking this late model white pickup truck for a very long joyride all throughout the Southland area, going to Commerce, Southgate, towards downtown LA, and then ultimately driving away from downtown towards Orange when the slowdown happened. As you mentioned, they're on the 5 freeway right now, and this is where now, if people are driving through that area, there will be a backup. If we could see that traffic as we open up there, Justin, thank you. Yeah, you're going to definitely see traffic starting to build up in that area because of the fact that this pursuit is coming to an end at this point. But hopefully they'll start opening up lanes once again because of the fact that this suspected carjacking suspect is now in police custody. We saw law enforcement officials put cuffs on him, and of course the investigation will get underway in terms of what exactly happened and the circumstances surrounding that pursuit for almost an hour now, with Stu up in Skyfox overhead.
Well, I can tell you, California Highway Patrol, they are one of the things that they are always on their mind is traffic on the freeway moving. So they're going to open up these lanes as soon as possible. Hopefully they're going to do it here in the next moment or two. Southbound 5, you saw that shot for asking Justin to pan up there. It is backing up quite a bit, but they have to make sure that that vehicle is off to the side. They have to see what was possibly tossed out. And I can tell you right now, just this very second, they're starting to open up those lanes again. There you go. They got traffic passing by. So the 5 freeway, there's some slowing there. It'll probably be 30 minutes before it really goes back to normal. But California Highway Patrol do an amazing job. They were the ones that were there when this vehicle definitely pulled over, ran out of gas. I wonder if we'll ever really find out. And again, the Sheriff's Department, they had it for the longest time, but in the end, it ended on the California freeway. So California Highway Patrol, they're going to take the caller, as it would be, taking them into custody and sorting out exactly what happened. But again, very dangerous pursuit, couple of cities, different jurisdictions, different law enforcement, but in the end, just kind of pulling over here on the southbound 5 at Carmenita, and you can see that suspect basically being patted down before they place them into the squad car. But again, it's the best endings that we can deal with right now, where there's nobody hurt, no damage to any vehicles.
Yes, and Stu, thank you so much for that outstanding coverage, and Justin for staying along with that as well. We are thankful that that pursuit ended peacefully.